ahead and look at some of the data over the last few years since 2004. I don't have the 2009 data in here just yet, but the gene that we've identified to go forward with in that first, let me back up. All right, the gene that we have in 2004, we were seeing a 13.4% increase in yield. Dropped down a little bit 2005 and 6. I think they caught some rain at some of those research sites. We didn't see the advantage that we did in some of the more stressful years. You know, that's what the interesting thing about research is you can put down all these plots and do all this work and hope to get some real stresses and real differences, and then it rains, or you don't get the bug infestation or whatever. Kind of frustrating, but over time you can see that we're averaging about that 6 to 10% increase in yield with this gene. So where do we stand as of today? March 9th, 2009, Monsanto announced that we had completed all the regulatory work and we'd submitted everything that we needed to here in the U.S. and Canada. Right now it's kind of in the hands of the USDA and FDA, you know, all those agencies we have to deal with, EPA, FDA, USDA, and the others. Everything's in place, everything's on track. And again, from our field trials this last I keep hitting the wrong button. We've been seeing a 6 to 10% increase in yield with this Drought 1 gene. Granted, these were at yield levels of 70 to 130 bushel per acre, but if we can do that in those very stressful environments, we know that we've actually got something that's going to work for us. So just kind of brag on Monsanto a little bit. You know, we feel like we're the leaders in most of the trait technology that comes down. And drought is going to be no different. We'll have the first true gene on the market for drought. We're always going to try to increase and do better for germplasm. We've made great strides in that. So we're going to incorporate not just the technology and the genes and the gene jockey kind of stuff, also going to maintain the classical breeding and identify higher products there. And I'm always going to preach, you know, let's farm different, let's farm smarter, let's farm better than we have in the past. So we're getting there. It's not coming as fast as we would like, but I think it's the real deal. I did not mention, I thought I had a slide in there to remind me, this drought gene is still very regulated, okay? The stack of paperwork is about that thick. I have to go through all these training courses and sign off on all this stuff to guarantee and assure the EPA that we're managing this introduction correctly. So under those regulatory trials, we've had a few in the area, but none right here in our backyard. Well, this year, guys, I'm going to have 3 of them. Okay, there's going to be one. I think we're putting it down around halfway, and I'll have 2 locations up north, one in Moore County and one over in Hutchinson County. And again, they're very regulated trials, but I will be allowed to take you through and let you look at them. When you see them, it's going to look like, you know, a row going here and a row going there. They're not going to look a whole lot different. It's early kind of evaluations of this material, but the material that I'll have in these fields are going to be commercial lines. They're just probably not going to be the lines that we're going to end up planting out here. They're probably going to be Iowa lines, but it's that close. I'll have those regulated trials, 3 of them in the geography, and as I get data and in the lab, we'll share that with you. Any questions? I ran through that pretty quick, but you know, there's a lot of it that's is still kind of in the development stage and hard to answer, but I'll try. Go ahead.
You may have mentioned why are you saying why are you saying it's more high to isolates?
Yeah. Right.
All that good stuff.
Right. It's mainly economics. Okay, for those guys, if his question was, why is this Drought 1 gene, are we looking at more as an Iowa trait than a High Plains Irrigated trait? Those guys, and I hope nobody's got camp folks up there, you know, I don't mean to, you know, drought to them is a different deal. To them, what's drought? Well, it didn't rain during pollination, you know. So for those guys, it's more of an insurance kind of policy, more of an insurance deal. It's an in case it doesn't rain. Where for us, when we're thinking about drought, what do we want to do? We want to turn that sprinkler off. We want to intentionally induce drought. You know, we want to save costs there. For them, they have no influence on whether it rains, so they need some insurance to cover that. Where for us, it's an actual manipulation of our inputs. Does that make sense? Okay. So, well, that's how I was going to put that.
Because scientifically, Moses don't have to hide. Moses don't have to.
Right.
Moses does something. You gotta see water. You gotta see. I heard this same story at a farm show. They said it could not during the 5 years, 15 years.
The stresses that they're going to experience in a given year, for them are extreme, but for us out in this room, I don't know what stress is. You know, their stress is going to be it's not going to rain timely, or something's going to happen, you know, hail, whatever. But the stress that they have there is so much different than what we have. Our stresses are extreme. We're starting out at, 16 inches of rain in this part of the world to begin with. You know, they're at 36, 40 inches. So it's a level of, it's a stress difference. So it's easier to guarantee or ensure that than it's going to be for us. We're going to have to be a lot tougher in our technology than they're going to need to be. I know I'm kind of rambling, but I think to give you it'll work. That team there, and you're correct there, those guys are going to see benefit from it. We'll see that same benefit. It just won't be as dramatic because we're already, you know, I've got those moisture probes that we've had out in the field for several years. I know I'm running over time, I'm sorry. But I had 16 of those probes strung out through this geography last year, and I have 4 at my research site. And it's real difficult to stand in front of producers and tell them they're doing something wrong. But if you look at the data and you talk to your crop consultants, they'll agree to most of our corn producers in this part of the world overwater. Now, they may not overwater total inches that they put on that crop. They may be scheduling it wrong. So if we can do anything to save these guys pumping costs and water, use less water, that's what we want to get to. So for this part of the world, this drought is a totally different animal than it is back east. I guess I'm rambling at this point, but I think you understand. I hope you do. Any other questions? I'll try to. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Truly drought tolerant and drought areas like that.
Right. Yeah, he's got those trials there. He's also got those trials at Heather. And we worked with Dr. Winway. I got an email from him last week to share seeds. So, yeah, we work with universities, and, you know, it's a collaborative effort. So, yeah, we're interested. Anything else? And I'll hush and let Dr. Bowles speak. Appreciate it. I'll be around for a little bit if you got any